Militant anti-PvP members of the Star Citizen community seized an opportunity to attack PvP gameplay in Star Citizen when this screenshot was posted on Reddit. This resulted in the leader of Chaos Squad, Captain Dirty, getting a warning for excessive griefing from CIG. These people manipulated CIG's customer service and used the Carrack Med Bay event as a weapon against PvP gameplay in Star Citizen by trying to paint the
gentleman who kept spawning in the Medbed in the Carrack was having a good time. His voice over internet protocol was not working. But he didn't know that. And he was saying, you know, hey guys, you know, like he was just having a fun time with them. He wasn't upset and he didn't report it. Somebody who was watching all this mess, I don't know how, reported it on Reddit and posed as the dude. And then the guy, I think on Chaos Squad is the name of the organization. The guy who was part of Chaos Squad that was part of this raid got a big slap on the wrist, dude.
The event in a bad light and convinced CIG that this PvP event makes the game look bad in the eyes of the wider public. The reason why I believe it's anti-PvP members of the community is because there is obvious proof of two parties fighting each other, even as unfair and uneven as the fight was. Both parties engaged each other as frequently as they could within their capabilities, regardless of how limited they were. And CIG has made a point of declaring their support for PvP gameplay inside of their game. As you should know from my previous video in this investigation where Dradmar speaks with both myself and Captain Dirty, we established that he was fine with what happened. He was engaged in the gameplay and that he didn't report this incident to CIG, which led me to—
Which I did not know that. On the first viewing, I did not know that at all. And I've actually talked with agents about this behind the scenes, and I was like, dude, I'm like, when I watched that second video and I got that tidbit of information, I was like, holy God, like some rando like posting this on Reddit, posing as the dude and weaponized Cloud Imperium, man. It's like EVE Online tactics, you know?
Looking for new leads by contacting backers who may have potentially reported the Reddit post and the video of the event to CIG. A day after doing so, the backer that I contacted from Reddit responded and said that they had reported the post to CIG's customer service. And when I asked for proof, they provided a screenshot of the stub for the ticket that they had sent to CIG. I'd also contacted a backer on Spectrum, but I still haven't heard from them. Over the course of 3 days, a backer from Reddit and I spoke about the event. They were polite and forthcoming in answering my questions. I tried my best to remain objective with my questioning and not let my bias get through, which was a lot harder to do as I read more of their responses.
I bet it was.
This backer saw the screenshot on Reddit and began reading through the post for the responses from the OP to explain the context of what the screenshot signified. They claimed, based on the inconsistencies of the OP's replies and the screenshot itself, that the owner of the Carrack was not having fun and that this was a clear-cut case of targeted griefing, and they took it upon themselves to report the Reddit post to CIG's customer service with the goal of bringing this incident to CIG's attention to investigate it. They claimed they were not aware of the video footage of the incident between Captain Dirty and Dradmar at the time, so when they reported the Reddit post, they supplied CIG with the Reddit post URL and the name of the OP in their ticket to CIG, but no information on Captain Dirty. They told me that they had acted alone and normally only make reports when it's something that they have witnessed firsthand, and they claimed this was the first time they had reported something as a third party. This backer stated that their intent for reporting the Reddit post is because they care about Star Citizen. They like playing the game, and when they saw this Reddit post, they interpreted it as someone bragging about griefing a player. They claim to have been griefed before, back when Port Olisar was a default spawn. You know, the usual story, their ships kept getting destroyed every time they spawned them, and every time they left the station they got gunned down. They didn't like that experience, and the post made them feel empathetic towards Dradmar. Now, it's clear that this backer has a bias towards how open world PvP should work. This can be seen where they state that they're not okay with randomly attacking other players without purpose or communication, and they don't believe that the player being spawned camped bears any responsibility, even when they've respawned in excess of 60 plus times. Also, I don't agree with their mindset with how they think PvP gameplay should work in Star Citizen. I do appreciate their honesty and being forthcoming with their answers. They didn't have to respond or answer any of my questions. I can also understand and appreciate their desire to make Star Citizen a better game, as it's the same motivation that I have investigating this warning. That all said, I strongly disagree with their assessment, and whilst it's easy to think that they're not at fault for reporting something that they thought was wrong, the fact of the matter is that they didn't know enough about the situation to be making such a report in the first place. And they admit, had they known that Dradmar was okay with what was happening, they wouldn't have reported the Reddit post as evidence of a player being griefed. Based on my experience Note's been a player pirate and Star Citizen for years now, and what CIG has told us about how they prefer players to handle PvP encounters, the footage in Captain Dirty's video informs me that both players were working well within CIG's intent of finding in-game solutions to in-game problems. Dradmar chose to fight for his ship, all in the pursuit of having a fun and engaging experience. He knows he could have left at any time, but he chose to stay. He chose to engage in the gameplay, and Captain Dirty and his crew chose to do the same. He was not a victim of griefing. This was a classic example of two consenting groups of players engaging in PvP games.
But it was that visual, right? It was all those dead Karens on the ground. It was too easy of a target because your eyes just looked at it and you said, okay, well, this must be like insane griefing, because it's easy to look at that picture and say that's what it is, you know. But this is great. This is wonderful. What Agents is doing is like going underneath, going deep down, finding the root cause of this, where you have somebody who believes in their style of gameplay being more important than another's. We see that a lot of times in gaming, PvP versus PvE. It's the eternal kind of debate. But a good game balances both. And again, I will go back to this. The security is not built in yet. The game mechanics are not built in yet to handle these types of things yet. So let's keep going.
Gameplay. And whilst it's not communicated
and
verbally
I
by text,
don't like that somebody just randomly reported this as if they were the people being assaulted. And I don't like the fact that Cloud Imperium didn't do the due diligence to actually investigate this. You know, I'm just like a content creator chilling out here with you guys, enjoying my time on stream. And just the amount of time I spent on this, I can see what's actually happening, where they're weaponizing Cloud Imperium. You know? So like, I would expect that the people who are making the game that I enjoy would put that same due diligence in and get to the bottom of it.
the actions of both parties demonstrate the desire to continue their chosen course of action. Unfortunately, the backer from Reddit didn't see it that way because they didn't seek out all the facts. But that didn't stop them from firing off their ticket to CIG. And whilst they don't know if more people reported the Reddit post, it's quite clear that there was enough attention generated to get CIG to take notice and act. However, CIG's actions are confusing.
Hopefully
First,
this doesn't set a
customer
precedent
service
though,
emailed
Sketch, you
Captain
know,
Dirty,
dude.
and only
I feel like
Captain
this sets a
Dirty, even though there
precedent.
were two other players also spawn camping Dradmar. Secondly, CIG never tells Captain Dirty which actions that he was taking that constituted excessive griefing. Captain Dirty had to reach out and ask if it was about the Carrick Medbay event, which they confirmed, but they still didn't say it was for spawn camping. That is an assumption that everyone, including me, has made. So if Captain Dirty was the only person there worthy of a warning, and it potentially was not for spawn camping, and the video footage demonstrates two players engaging in PvP, then what did he get the warning for? Unfortunately, you're gonna have to wait until the next video.
He got the warning because it was the correct, politically correct thing to do, which is bullshit. And, you know, Cloud Imperium needs to apologize for real. You know, like let's just be bigger men and, you know, swallow the pride here and not make this a political thing, Cloud Imperium. Come on. I mean, really, you just did what you felt like looked right without doing any of the due diligence or work that it takes to understand what the actual situation was. And I don't want that from my developers. And sure as hell, this is the biggest problem with Spectrum. The moderation of Spectrum is so sloppy. I don't know if it's that they don't have enough manpower. I don't know exactly what's going on, or they're not taking the time to actually investigate these things, but it's rampant. And that's a huge problem on Spectrum. And I want more work and quality in the moderation than what we're receiving right now. It doesn't make me feel good at all about the project when these things slip through the cracks. It goes and slaps against the face of actually everything that Chris said this game is supposed to be, which is an open world where there's very little limits placed on the individual citizen so that we can all have a good time. We all know we're in an alpha. We all know we're experimenting right now. We all know we're trying to find exploits like crazy, and we all know that these things happen. I don't think what happened was griefing from what Agents researched, and he dug down deep. I expect his journalism. I respect his professionalism in this. And I'm going to give the man some applause for real, because like he did the work. It's a problem. Like this is actually quite a big problem, and I don't want this to be like a cancer and spread, and then we get more issues of this. I just don't want this to continually be an issue.
Video to find out what happens as we go deeper in this direction.
Yeah,
in the meantime, check out this video to hear Dradmar's side of the story.
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm glad he stuck to it. Short and sweet, 5 minutes and 45 seconds. Like I said, I've talked with agents behind the scene and DMs on Discord, and he's very passionate about keeping the danger in the game, and I absolutely applaud him and Mongrel Squad for keeping true to the very nature of what it is that we love as PvPers, which is the danger, to keep the danger in. Obviously, griefing is horrible, and in an instance like this, on the surface, it does look like griefing. But take the time to figure out what is actually going on before you moderate the shit out of this. You have got to do the work, and that's their job. That's what these moderators, and I feel like it's very lazy on Spectrum. I really do. I feel like the moderation, with few exceptions. But anyway, good job, agents. Good job, Mongrel Squad. Keep up the fight, Yar. Keep it up.